Good morning, Chasm Country. This is Megan Herbst, Conservation Planner with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District with your Conservation Report for Saturday, January 7th. Today I want to highlight a recent article by Christopher Vondrasek published in the Star Tribune on December 28th. I thought it was a fitting article as we just wrapped up the annual Soil Management Summit a couple of weeks ago in White Park. The article is titled, Midwest Topsoil is Being Eroded 100 Times Faster Than It Is Forming. And if that's not a rude awakening, I'm not sure what is. The article continues as follows. Farmers might not know it, but something is stealing the land from under their feet. It's erosion. I don't even think they know how much they're losing, said Jody DeYoung-Hughes, a soils and water quality educator at University of Minnesota Extension. She goes on to say, we have this deep, rich black soil, and it gets a little less each year. An eye-popping new report from a leading geologist at the University of Massachusetts Amherst argues that soil erosion in the Midwest, including from samples in southwestern Minnesota, is happening at a far faster clip than previously estimated. On a human timescale, the change is pretty much impossible to see, said University of Massachusetts Amherst geoscientist Isaac Larson, whose findings were published last month in the scientific journal Geology. Larson told the Star Tribune his research analyzed the lingering shrapnel from exploded stars, specifically beryllium-10 that has been embedded into native remnant prairie. Farmers' plows overturned the fields beginning in the 19th century, but by measuring trace amounts of beryllium-10 in virgin prairie, Larson could better estimate how fast erosion occurs naturally. That soil is being eroded 100 times faster than it is forming, and that kind of situation can burn right through the soil profile, said Larson. Larson and his team traveled to sites across the upper Midwest from southwestern Minnesota down to northern Kansas. He said the loss of soil isn't simply an academic fascination. This loss, called soil loss tolerance values, has perennially been utilized by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to determine soil health for farmers. In 1982, the USDA estimated roughly 40% of U.S. cropland was eroding at destructive rates, and by 2007, that rate had dipped to below 30%, though it's still slightly increased over the last 15 years. We're certainly getting better over the last 100 years, said Anna Cates, a soil scientist with the University of Minnesota. Minnesota exceeds the national rate in the loss of soil caused by wind erosion, and Cates has seen firsthand the destruction caused by soil loss. This summer, Cates visited fields outside Crookston in the northwestern portion of the state and witnessed farmers frantically replanting dry edible beans following a dust storm. The land was scoured, just scoured, Cates said. And erosion happens many ways. Sometimes it's wind depleting a hillock over decades. Other events are more rapid. Those latter events, said Cates, prompt farmers to consider other practices such as reducing tillage or planting cover crops. Every farmer who sees erosion doesn't make a change, but every farmer who changes references erosion as a motivator, Cates said. Larson said in the aftermath of the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, when the USDA set standards, researchers only understood a shadow of what today's scientists know about soil loss. At the time, the science really wasn't there like it is now, said Larson, and researchers and teachers with the University of Minnesota Extension say they're sounding the alarm bells. According to the 2017 USDA Agriculture Census, just a fraction of farms across the state planted a cover crop, even after years of encouragement and incentives from agricultural cooperatives, environmental nonprofits, and the government. More food for thought is that farming in Minnesota is usually a family business, and usually farming practices carry down from generation to generation. So how do we change people's way of thinking when it's all in the family? That's all from me today. If you have any questions about getting conservation on the ground, please call the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District at 320-251-7800 extension 3. This has been Megan Herbst with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District with your Conservation Report.